Yeah, so.
Okay, I'm going to move to the back since you've been patiently waiting. Okay, so the gentleman with the blue hat, you're going to be first. Joel, you are going to be second. And I'm going to come over here to the gentleman in the yellow hat. Third, okay?
What are the chances of getting a skate park? It's actually, the chances are there. It's one of those items, because of the way it was debated, that we're putting the money into the improvements of the overall park. The interesting thing about skate parks is there are ways to fund them separately. We can't go really out into the public or into the world of funding and get funding for pathways or viewpoints or elements, some of these other elements, some of these sport court elements, things like that. It's a little more difficult. There are mechanisms for actually getting funding for something like a skate park. So we chose not to show it as part of the plan right now, but there is a placeholder for it in the event that the energy gets behind it, that we can actually find the funding for it. So one of those hard choices. And I like what Kelly said, and if the bid came in really low, because that could happen too. So where were we going? Joel.
About these pads that we're going to have, what I wonder is, can we put out into discussion right now that the surface quality of them, I think with pads like that, I've seen competitive use by rollerbladers or bike riders with walkers. Maybe that's okay. I don't have a conclusion about it personally, but do you think about these pads and how they will be surfaced?
Okay, so the question is about the pathways, the walkways.
How they will be surfaced and what kind of activity they will allow by the choice of that surfacing.
Well, by the sheer nature that they're paths, they're meant for everyone. That means they're accessible. And to make them accessible means that they're smooth, open, no obstacles.
Well, I'm sorry, you both know there are paths that have compressed fibers, there are paths that are permeable, but they're firm, but they're not suitable for rollerblading. There are many ways to approach paving of paths. So I think it would be good if we clarify what it is as a community, what we would like to see those paths responding mostly to or preferring.
Well, what we have right now is that this 10-foot wide perimeter path that moves around the park is asphalt. It's going to work with the vehicles that SPU has to drive on them and the abuse that they take. This spiraling central path is proposed to be concrete. So the fact that we can actually up the material and have a nicer finish, some of these gathering spaces would all be concrete. Some of these other paths, like this particular one, might actually be crushed rock. We might even think about a spiraling path like that to be crushed rock. So it's making sure we have enough walkways and pathways for people to enjoy a variety of surfaces, but also that we need to make sure that we can fit within the budget. So if we spend all the money on expensive surfaces like concrete, then we're going to start taking paths out, and we might just have a loop here and some other access points. So that's what we're trying to do, is balance it enough that we can get enough variety and distances in places for people to walk within the park.
Just so you understand, when you pave with concrete, you are making a decision that I don't remember having a community discussion about, that it's going to be suitable for people racing around on bikes and people on rollerblades, where a lot of people might be thinking, I don't know, that walking is really the preferred way of using them. You don't have to put in concrete pads. This is an age where everybody talks about not an impervious surface is preferred. So I'm just thinking, you're making a decision sort of, I think, separate from any discussion.
Well, I think we can acknowledge the point. The challenge is, as I said, all of our pathways have to be accessible. That means ambulatory, that means wheelchairs, people with crutches, people that have special needs for movement. That means the surfaces we put in, flat, smooth, hard, even crushed rock is a questionable surface in certain circumstances. So we'd even have to measure that carefully, that we aren't creating a spot that people that need accessibility can't use. So as soon as we do that, now any sort of wheeled vehicle, strollers, skateboards, bikes, rollerblades, it's open to everyone. So we really can't preclude a type of use.
What about striping on that 10-foot wide path where one side is walkable and the other side is wheeled vehicle, that kind of thing?
With the park having that great use, I think it's a great suggestion. I think when that critical mass is there and there's that many people, absolutely. I don't.
Tradition of the three-question question. One is, being that so many of the decisions about this park are deferred to SPU, why have they not been present at any of these meetings, and why are they not here tonight? I find this concerning, personally. Second question is, are we going to have a light at the, this will be the west entrance on Roosevelt? And then the third question is, what are the markers, the 50-foot markers, made of, and can they not be incorporated into the art?
Okay. I can do 50-foot markers. I think I forgot the. Oh, SPU. SPU has huge influence on what we're doing, and why aren't they here?
And have they not been here throughout the process?
And they haven't been here throughout.
Good question.
I think as far as I know, they have provided the contact, and here's who to call and contact with questions or concerns about what we're doing or not being able to do.
I'll give you the most honest answer is I know that they're having a large construction project out there ongoing right now, and we wanted to make sure that we're utilizing the time for the park development. They could definitely come out here and talk to you guys about the constraints and do a thing on that, but we really wanted to make sure that we were focusing on the park design. And granted, I know there's a lot of issues with SBU and things like that, but we really wanted to focus on the park. And normally they actually would be part of it, but since there is some controversy out there, we just thought it would be best so that we could keep it focused. Well, then nobody would talk about the park.
That's what a light on Roosevelt.
Yeah.
What we've actually shown are these access points, and these are actually designed specifically so that you can't head straight out into the street without making a choice because of the children's area in here. We're showing this, and what we're hoping is there's a catalyst as we develop this plan that we can talk more with SDOT about safe crossings and encourage that. So as far as the light goes, not in our budget, but it's one of those conversations we want to have. And lastly was 50-foot markers. Yes, they could be art. They could be part of the art. Beacon Hill Reservoir, under construction right now. Our office is working on that at this time. We're actually using a bronze marker that is set 50 feet off from the reservoir in that line every 50 feet. So we've already got that going on, and that's Beacon Hill's signature. What we looked at was something that might be unique to this neighborhood where anywhere a path crosses, and I think that series of lines right there is probably the best, we would have these markers on either side of the path, because our feeling is anybody coming into the park is most likely using a path. Anybody doing maintenance is probably coming in on a path. We'd like to mark those. We still have to put a text on there. We can't just put a thing on the ground and pretend everybody knows about it. We have to pretend that somebody brand new to parks is now maintaining this site, and they show up and it has to say, apply no fertilizers or herbicides beyond this marker without written approval. We can word it much better than that, and we've done that at Jefferson Park, or at Jefferson on Beacon Hill. So it's an interesting design component. Not the direction the artist has chosen to go, but it could have a little bit of interest.